Okay, so great evening, guys. Thank you so very much for joining us again today on another excited. Okay, so great evening, everyone. Thank you so very much for joining us again today on another exciting upgrade mastery just for you, right? So this is the upgrade mastery just for you, and we do this every Friday now. Today is going to be a special because it's something we're going to be talking about that we normally don't talk about, right? And it's something that I believe would be of immense help to you who's listening to this, right? So, first off, how's your week? How did your week go? And what were the things that you were able to do this week, right? So, tell me, how did your week go? What's up? What did you do this week? What challenges did you face? And how were you able to overcome those challenges that you faced, right? You always get to do a review during the Friday lives like this so that we can just take stock of everything that's happened for us during the week and then take our learning experiences from it all so that we can look back and say, of a truth, we've had a great week. So this is the end of the week and this is the point for us to look at. This is the first Friday in December, and December is the season of Christmas. So you could see I have my Secret Santa, right? And you could see the date is on the 6th, right? So we keep counting down to Christmas, right? So how's it been for you this week? What did you do? What challenges did you face? How were you able to overcome them? And most importantly, so those of you who are just watching this for the first time, we have a new series that we do every morning on Instagram, and we just get to share for a minute or two some important life lessons to begin your day with. So should in case you have missed that, just go to Instagram, search for Dr. Upgrade or at Wisdom Counseling, and you will get to see some of the things that we have been sharing over a while now. Every morning, Mondays through Fridays from 7 p.m., we just share for like a minute or two, and we have a nugget for the day to get into our day. So today, we're going to talk about something very, very important, something very, very, very important that you need to pay attention to. So while I was studying this early in the morning, I was like, wow, this is something that we should really talk about on this conversation, right? And we're going to be talking about it now. It's a story that is popular, but there's a part of it that is not so popular that you need to pay attention to, which is some of the things that we are going to be talking about today. Now, if you remember in scripture, those of you ever did Bible study, right, as a child, there's the man that they call the strongest man, the man who killed a lion with his bare hands, right? The man who killed 1,000 men with a jawbone of an ass, the man who could put a city gate on his shoulder and carried up a mountain. That man was Samson. Yes, Samson. One of the things that people don't really pay attention to when it comes to Samson, in the mind of some people, Samson is this buff guy, very thick, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was like Mr. Macho and all of that. But I think in my mind's eye, Samson did not look like the kind of strength that he possessed, right? Samson may just have been one skinny guy, one ordinary looking guy that you feel like, this guy's a regular guy. But then when that spirit of might comes upon Samson, it becomes another man entirely, right? So that is the perspective I want you to have of Samson. Don't have that man that is so macho, so buff. No, no, no. Just have the mind that, okay, Samson is just a regular guy, just a guy like you who's just having a few packs, not even up to 6. But when the spirit of might comes upon Samson, there's so much that Samson can do. Right? Like I told you, he could kill a lion, not a cub. A cub is the baby lion, a full-grown lion, right? He could kill a lion with his bare hand, and then he could kill 1,000 men with just a jawbone of an ass, not even a sword, a jawbone of an ass, and he could remove a city gate. I don't know if you have gone to university campuses, see the big, huge gates that they have. That kind of city gate, he could put it on his shoulder and carry the gate on his shoulder up a high mountain. That was a picture of who Samson was. But today, we're not looking at Samson's strength per se, we're looking at how Samson could let himself become what Delilah did to him. Right? So we've talked about Samson. Now let's enter in Delilah. People always say Delilah was a prostitute. Delilah wasn't actually a prostitute. Delilah was just a lady of influence who people realized the influence she had and used that influence for their benefits. Right? So that was who Delilah was. Delilah was the person who I could say she loved money more than she loved Samson. Because when the people offered her 1,000 pieces of silver per person so that she could reveal the secret of Samson's strength, she did not hesitate. She was like, okay, let's get this happen. Let's make this happen. Let's do this. Right? Because that was who Delilah was. Right? Right? So that was who Delilah was. So today we're going to be looking at Samson and Delilah, and we're going to look at the book of Judges, chapter 16. It's a very interesting read. It's a very interesting scripture. It's something that you would enjoy, right? And I'm going to just break it down. Okay, I think I'm going to use another translation outside of the King James so that we can really get it. There was the amplified version that I was using before. Let me try the Living Bible. Let me see how it comes out. See. Okay. Fantastic. So let's start from chapter 1, because I'm going to take the whole chapter and give you some learning points from the book of Samson. Right. So today we're talking about Samson and Delilah. Right. Samson and Delilah. A friend of mine jokingly said one thing, that delay is not Delilah. When they said delay is not Delilah, like, are you for real? What is that? Delay is not Delilah. When they say delay is not denier, it said delay is not Delilah. But today we're looking at Samson and Delilah. I was starting off from Judges chapter 16. Right now, this is how the story begins. I'm going to read from verse 1 down to the end and then pick out the learning points for you guys to see. It says, one day, Samson went to the Philistine city of Gaza and spent the night with a prostitute. Now, take note, this was another prostitute. This was not Delilah. Like I told you earlier, Delilah was not a prostitute. So, contrary to popular belief that, oh, Delilah was a prostitute. No. Delilah wasn't a prostitute. Before Samson met Delilah, Samson had an encounter with another woman from Gaza, right? So one day, Samson went to the Philistine city of Gaza and spent the night with a prostitute. Word soon spread that he had been seen in the city, so the police were alerted, and many men of the city lay in wait all night in the city gates to capture him if he tried to leave. So they heard Samson was in Gaza. They heard he was with the prostitute. So they came to the city gate hoping that when he wants to leave, they will catch him, right? But it gets interesting. It says, in the morning, they thought, when there's enough light, we'll find him and kill him. So this was their intention, so to capture Samson and kill him. But see how it gets interesting. Now, Samson stayed in bed with the girl until midnight, right? They were waiting for Samson in the morning to catch him and kill him. But Samson was in bed with this prostitute until midnight, and then went out to the city gates and lifted them with the two gateposts right out of the ground. He put them on his shoulders and carried them to the top of the mountain across from Hebron. So this is Samson that they were hoping to kill in the morning when there was light. But this was Samson at midnight, removed the city gate, put them on his shoulder, and carried it to the top of the mountain across from Hebron. So Samson was just showing himself, showing off. Samson was just showing off, like, Samu, you were just showing off. Like, literally, Samson, people are planning to capture you, people are planning to kill you, but all you could do is wake up by midnight to the same place where people are waiting for you, carry the city gate on your shoulder, and just went to the top of the mountain and dropped the gate and went away. And that was intro to Samson in chapter 16. Now, this is the next thing they say about Samson. It says, later on, he fell in love with a girl named Delilah over in the valley of Sorek. Now, remember, the other episode was in Gaza. Now he is in Sorek. He fell in love with a girl. Now, notice they said a girl, not a prostitute. Now, this girl was named Delilah. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The five heads of the Philistine nation went personally to her and demanded that she find out from Samson what made him so strong, so they would know how to overpower him and subdue him and put him in chains. So their objectives were clear, right? The objectives were very clear. Let's find the secret of his strength. Let's be able to overpower him. Let's subdue him and put him in chains. Very specific objective. Now they went to Delilah, who Samson had fallen in love with. Now, first thing I want you to listen and pay attention to. Now, you have to be mindful, like they say, you have to be demure, you have to be mindful. You have to be mindful of the people that you fall in love with. Lesson number one, be mindful of the people you fall in love with, right? Samson fell in love with Delilah. This was not like the prostitute that he could just walk away. This was somebody he was now in love. Now, the thing is, when people are in love, they are unconsciously attached to the people that they are in love with. Yes, when people are in love, they are unconsciously attached to the people that they're in love with. And you're going to see how this will play out for Samson. So lesson number one I want to share with you from this story of Samson and Delilah is, number one, be careful of the people that you fall in love with. Whether you're male, whether you're female, be careful. Because you see, when you're in love, there's some things you put aside because you're in love. There's some things you really will no longer pay attention to or consider because you're in love. There's some things you will now excuse because you're in love. There's one of the lines I have in one of my spoken word pieces back in the day. I said that we are all fools to what we truly believe, right? And when you're in love, you believe that you found the best person for you. You found the lost strip that you're looking for. You found the bone of your bone, the flesh of your flesh, right? And at that point, you become a fool because of what you believe. Now, this is what happened to Samson. Samson fell in love with Delilah. Now, this is how it gets interesting. The person that Samson had fallen in love with, people had come to meet her and say, help us find the secret of his strength. We want to be able to overpower him, subdue him, and put him in chains. So they were very specific about what they wanted to do with Samson. So it wasn't like, oh, they were trying to just say, okay, Samson, just look at it. No. They were very specific. And they say, we want to be able to know how to overpower, how to subdue, and how to put him in chains. And then they said, each of us, which were the five of them, we're going to give you $1,000 for this job. So this was a job for Delilah. And you know, people who are given a job who want to do the job. Now, despite the fact that Samson had fallen in love with Delilah taking a job to do on Samson. Now you see why I tell you, be careful with the people that you fall in love with. Be careful, right? Be careful. Be careful with the people that you fall in love with. Now, they came to Delilah. They gave her the objective and they told her the benefit that comes with doing the job. Like, this was not like, oh, they gave her the objective, they told her the benefit, and that was it. Literally, that was it. Do you understand? So that was it. So it's not something like, oh, she didn't know. She was, no. She was aware. She knew the job. She knew the objective. Okay, yeah, so that was what happened. So Delilah took the job. So Delilah begged Samson to tell her his secret. Please tell me, Samson, why are you so strong? She pleaded. I don't think anyone could ever capture you. Well, Samson replied, if I were tied with 7 raw leather bowstrings, I would become as weak as anyone else. So they brought her the 7 bowstrings, and while he slept, she tied him with them. Some men are hiding in the next room. As soon as she had tied him up, she exclaimed, Samson, the Philistines are here. And then he snapped the bowstrings like a cotton thread, and so his secret was not discovered. That was the first test, right? Afterwards, Delilah said to him, you're making fun of me. You told me a lie. Please tell me how you can be captured. Now, lesson number two, right? Lesson number one, be careful who you fall in love with. Lesson number two, pay attention to people who are very direct. Now, if you notice, Delilah was very direct. Delilah wasn't saying, "Oh, she wasn't going through the corners." Delilah wasn't beating around the bush. Delilah was very direct. Please tell me the secret of your strength so that you can be captured. That is a that's a point where you need to pay attention. Delilah wasn't mixing words. She wasn't dilly-dallying. She wasn't beating around the bush. She was very specific and held on. She said, please tell me the secret of your strength so that you can be captured. Like, so that you can be captured. There was no, let me just try and see how it goes. Let me just not. Delilah was very specific. Tell me the secret of your strength so you can be captured. How did Samson never just wonder, why is she interested in the secret of my strength? Of all things, why that? Samson never just got the memo. Because the first time she tried it, she tied him with 7 bowstrings, and then she said, oh, the Philistines are upon you. And Samson snapped them like they were a thread. Samson should have paid attention to it. I told you, lesson number two, pay attention to the people who are very direct with you. Pay attention to people who are very direct with you. They are not hiding anything. They are not missing words. It's just you that's just outrightly not paying attention or being outrightly not wise. Let me not use the word stupid. Because Delilah wasn't hiding it. Like, what Delilah was doing was visible to the blind and even audible to the deaf. She wasn't beating around the bush. She was straight and direct. So you see, Delilah now said for the second time, you're making fun of me. You told me a lie. Please tell me how you can be captured. See, how is Samson not paying attention to this? How? And this is how a lot of people sometimes they are not paying attention to the things that are happening around them. They feel, oh, it's a joke. Oh, it's not that deep. That's what they use in the current slang. It's not that deep. Really? Not that deep? Come on. This is what put Samson where he finally found himself. Because Delilah wasn't hiding anything. She wasn't doing as though, okay, so you would not know, I'm just trying to be sneaky. Delilah was not sneaky. She was direct. Why are you lying to me? Why are you making fun of me? Please tell me how you can be captured. Well, he said, if I'm tied with brand new ropes that have never been used, I'll be weak as other men. So that time, as he slept, Delilah took new ropes and tied him with them. The men were hiding in the next room and as before. And again, Delilah exclaimed, Samson, the Philistines are here to capture you. But he broke the ropes from his arms like spider webs. Samson be doing the most. He broke the rope. Okay, so like I was saying, Delilah was direct. Samson, I still don't wonder why he wasn't getting the clue that she must be up to something. Remember, she had a job, which is find the secret of his strength, subdue him so we can put him in chains. And she had her payment, $5,000, because there were five people who came to her and they said they would give her $1,000 each. I'm reading from the Living Bible, right? Now, this is the second time she's asking Samson for the secret of his strength. And this is the second time Samson is telling her something that is not the truth. You have mocked me again, and you told me more lies, Delilah complained. Now, tell me how you can really be captured. Like, she is not even kidding. She's not kidding. Lesson number 3, be persistent. Right? I told you lesson number 1, be careful who you fall in love with. Lesson number 2, pay attention to the people who are very direct. Right? Lesson number 3, be consistent. Be consistent. Are you getting this? Are you learning from this? There are a lot of lessons from this story that I'm sharing, right? Lesson number 1, be careful who you fall in love with. Those of you that really want to love. Okay, nothing said. Number 2, I told you, be mindful of those who are very direct. Be mindful of those who are very direct. Delilah was very direct. She wasn't cutting corners. She was very direct. Tell me the secret of your strength so that you can be captured, right? The third reason I'm telling you, be persistent, right? Now, it looked like this was the second time now Delilah had asked, and something had told her something entirely different. And she had tried it out. Persistency. She was persistent. She told him, he told her, she tried it, it didn't work, she kept at it. How persistent are you in whatever it is that you're doing? There's so many things you can learn from Delilah. Yes, she may have been someone who loved money more than she loved Samson, because she was willing to get the job done and get paid and move on. That was Delilah for you. She was strictly a business person. To her, loving Samson was a business, because she was going to make money from revealing the secret of his strength, which she had nothing to do with. So the first time she asked Samson, tell me this, and Samson told her something else. Second time, tell me this, Samson told her something else. And then she was like, oh my God, why are you joking with me? What is the secret of your strength so that you can really be captured? She was persistent, and this was the third time. This was the third time she was asking Samson. And guess what? She said, you mocked me again and told me more lies. Delilah complained. Now, tell me, how can you really be captured? Well, he said, if you weave my hair into a loom. So while he slept, she did just that and then screamed, "The Philistines have come, Samson." And he woke up and yanked his hair away, breaking the loom. Then she went direct again and she said, "How can you say you love me when you don't confide in me?" She whined. "You have made fun of me 3 times now, and you still haven't told me what makes you strong." Remember, be persistent. Delilah was persistent. Guess what? It says she nagged at him every day until he couldn't stand it any longer and finally told her his secret. You know, one of the things that you must realize is that there are very few persons that persistency will not break down. Very few persons. Remember the story of the unjust judge in Luke 18, who the widow was demanding justice for her son, and she kept being persistent. And that's why Jesus used the analogy, pray without ceasing. She kept being persistent. Also, prior to this time, when Samson had married another girl, another Philistine girl, he gave a riddle to his in-laws at the time and the young men of that community and said if they could reveal the riddle, he would give them XYZ amount and things. And if they couldn't, they would give him XYZ amount and things. But because they realized that they couldn't, they put pressure on his newly wedded wife that she should get the answer of the riddle from Samson. And the same way Delilah persists to get her answer from Samson, that was the same way this newlywed that Samson had married earlier persisted and also got the answer to the riddle from Samson. So Samson always break when it comes to people who are persistent with him. Samson always would break. So you as a person, do you break in? Do you break when people are consistent with you? Do you cave in? Do you eventually just like, okay, no problem. You win, you win, you win. I give up, I give up. Do you do that? That was what Samson did. Samson caved in, unfortunately. Now, 3 times she was persistent. She never gave up. She never quit. She kept at it. She was persistent. And guess what? This time, Samson couldn't take it any longer. Right? She nagged at him every day until he couldn't stand it any longer and finally told her his secret. "My hair has never been cut," he confessed. "For I have been a Nazarite to God since before my birth. If my hair were cut, my strength would leave me and I would become as weak as anyone else." Delilah realized that he had finally told her the truth, so she sent for the 5 Philistine leaders. He wants to get paid. He said, "Come, just this one more time," she said. "For this time, he has told me everything." Now, one of the lessons I want us to learn from this is lesson number 4. Be mindful of the place where you find comfort. Be mindful of the place where you find comfort. You know, I always keep asking myself when I read this story, how come Samson never got a clue that Delilah was up to something? First time he told her something, she tried it out. Second time he told her something, she tried it out. Third time he told her something, she tried it out. Like they say, once is a mistake, twice is a choice, thrice is a pattern. How come Samson never saw the pattern with Delilah? That she was up to something. I'll tell you why. Samson found comfort with Delilah. Be careful at the places or the people where you find comfort, because those people can become comfort zones for you And in your comfort zone, a lot of things can go south. Like what just happened for Samson now. Like, use this analogy. If someone is throwing something towards you, you probably would duck, right? You would dodge because you've seen it coming to you. How come Samson could not see what Delilah was up to? So comfort can blind you towards the realities that people have towards you. I'll say that again. Comfort can blind you towards the realities of the things that people have towards you. Samson, because of how comfortable he was with being with Delilah, he did not see the agenda that Delilah had. Because Delilah was very direct. She wasn't hiding anything. She told him, "Tell me the secret of your strength so that you can be captured." How come Samson was not sharing those things? Comfort. Comfort will make you deaf to reasoning. Comfort will make you blind to reasoning. Comfort. And this time, Delilah, she asked them to bring the money so she can be paid. Because, like I said, she was doing a job. She wasn't taking this any personal. She was just doing a job. So they brought the money with them. She lured him to sleep with his head in her lap. You know how comfortable it is sleeping in somebody else's lap? Like, you know how comfortable that can be? That was what destroyed Samson. Comfort. Be careful. Be mindful of the places and people where you find comfort. They may just be about to cut off your hair like they did to Samson. And you know, where people find comfort, they are most vulnerable there. Their guards are down because they have found comfort. That is like home for them. And guess what? She lured him to sleep with his head in her lap, and they brought in a barber and they cut off his hair. And Delilah began to hit him. But she could see that his strength was leaving him. Oh my God. And then she screamed, "The Philistines are here to capture you, Samson." And he woke up and thought, "I would do as before. I will shake myself free." But he didn't realize Oh my, what a conversation. What a conversation we're having. Man, this is really, really epic. This is really epic. And we're just going to stop here with these four lessons. And then we're going to finish this by next week, Friday, where we look at the continuation of Samson and Delilah. But so far, from this first half of the lesson, we've done four important lessons that I'd like us to pay attention to moving forward in our own lives. Number one, be careful of who you fall in love with, right? Number two, be mindful of those who are very direct with you. Be very mindful of them because they are very direct. Be mindful of them. Number three, I said, be persistent, right? Delilah was persistent to get the secret of Samson's strength, regardless of the things that Samson told her. She was persistent till she got the exact secret of his strength. And number four, I said, be mindful of the places and the people where you find comfort. Be mindful of the places and the people where you find comfort, because that comfort may just be something that takes you out completely, right? And this is what we've seen happen in the life of Samson. This is what we've seen that Delilah was doing. So, guys, this is what we call it a wrap for today, because we're going to continue this next week to conclude this series, this very short series on Samson and Delilah that we're looking at in Judges chapter 16, right? And we've done our four lessons so far. I think we have some more lessons to draw out from the continuation of this, which we'll do next week. So, guys, I hope this has been worth your while. I hope you have learned something from this. Like we always say, there's always more on the upgrade side of life. So we encourage you to leave good behind so that you can upgrade. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. See you in the continuation of this next week. Have a great evening. God bless.